everybody, welcome back to our channel, Web Design. Today we are going to be doing our last video, which is a full stack project using AI. So you may ask, why we are using AI? AI is transforming code into a more creative, collaborative process. With tools like ChatGPT, developers now can create, debug, and optimize code with just a single prompt. This lets us shift our focus on innovation and problem-solving skills, enabling faster, more efficient development. It is not about AI replacing coders, but enhancing their capabilities, making coding more dynamic and interactive. So now we're going to create a full-stack project only using AI. But first, there are some requirements you need to know before doing this project. You need to know what is PostgreSQL and some knowledge on its queries. You must know FastAPI and its HTTP methods. Then you need to know front-end languages such as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And once you know all of that, you can continue with this course. So now, let's look at the FSD for this project. And over here, FSD means functional requirement. So now over here we have our project description, which is a student management system. The student management system is a full stack web application built with FastAPI for backend services, Postgres with Docker for the database management, and HTML, CSS, and student and JavaScript for the front end. This application provides an intuitive interface to manage student records, offering functionalities with real-time data, updates, and responsive design. The project is designed for ease of use, scalability, enabling educational institutions for development to handle data effectively. So here is our technology stack. So here in backend we're using FastAPI plus Python, and over here we have a database connection to Docker plus StudentDB, and over here we're going to have get, push, and delete methods going and coming back from the front end HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and we're going to test the Python API using Postman over here. So now we're going to learn about the key features. So the key features of backend with FastAPI and PostgreSQL. So for our first point is a CRUD API. A set of RESTful API endpoints implemented with FastAPI allows perform CRUD operations on student records. PostgreSQL database. The application uses PostgreSQL as the database, ensuring secure, reliable, and scalable data storage. Then we have cross-configuration. Cross-origin resource sharing is configured, allowing the front end to communicate with the backend from different domains or providing flexibility for deployment. Then we have front-end interface. HTML and CSS and JavaScript operations. In JavaScript, we have the student list display. We have the add student method, update student method, and delete student method. And these methods should line up with backend over here. Then we have the database schema. So we have the student tables, the main table for storing data including ID as primary key, name, age, and grade. Then we have project objective. It's user friendly, it should be modular architect, and it should be scalable. And the technology stack we are using is for the backend, FastAPI plus PostgreSQL, for the front end, HTML plus CSS, and if you want for deployment, you can use Tomcat. Over here, here's a sample of what it's going to look like. This is just a sample, you can have anything else you want. So now, let's go back to the PPT to learn more. So now, we're going to create our full stack project, but we're going to use prompts. So over here, you might think we'll first do the front end, then the back end, then the database. But you're wrong, we are doing it in reverse. We'll first create the database, then test it using Python, then we'll create a UI for that Python code. So let's kickstart this project by first creating a virtual environment in Anaconda. So you may ask, what is Anaconda? So over here, to install Anaconda, you're going to open a Google Chrome. Then over here, you're going to search Anaconda. Then you can go over here, the Anaconda distribution, installing on Mac OS. Over here, you go over here, and then you have to register. So I'll click sign in. So here we click Anaconda, then we click free download. It will ask you to sign up. So let's give our email address. You have to agree with the terms of service. And over here you have the once you do that, we have the Anaconda installers. So we have over here, we should have Python 3.12. Now over here we're gonna install it on a MacBook. So we're gonna use Apple Silicon 64-bit installer. And once you have that, you can go to the terminal and say conda -- version. And then now it will say conda 24.9.2, which is the latest version for this era over here. So now we'll load up ChatGPT. So now when we load up ChatGPT, we're going to go to PPT and copy this prompt over here, which is asking ChatGPT to create a virtual environment using Anaconda. So now over here, now when we press this, it will create a virtual environment using Anaconda. So now over here, the method to create a virtual environment is conda create. Then we have our name flag, my-env, and the Python version that we want to specify. So over here we're going to use Python 3.10. So now go to Visual Studio Code. We open up a new terminal and type this in. Over here our env is going to be full stack env. So now let's create this. We'll say proceed, and it'll take some while. And now here we have our virtual environment. So first let's copy this command that asks us to activate full stack env. But first let's go into our directory. So we have to write conda env list, and over here we have a base which Anaconda creates, and then we have a full stack env that we created. So go ahead and press command click, and over here it will ask us to trust the authors, and we'll say we trust these authors. And then now what we are going to do over here is we have a env. So now over here we're going to activate this env by saying conda activate full stack env, and over here we can do anything we want. So now let's go back to our PPT to do our second step, which is initializing the database. So now over here we're going to use Docker to pull PostgreSQL and initialize the database using some commands. So you may ask, what is Docker? So over here Docker is a way that we can pull databases. So we'll type in Docker, and over here we'll download Docker over here for the MacBooks Apple Silicon. And once you have downloaded it, over here we can do these simple commands. So we'll ask you to pull PostgreSQL by saying docker pull Postgres. So now we have checked that we don't have Docker. So now let's download Docker for the Apple Silicon. Now it's going to download over here. So this is 423 megabytes. It will take a second to download. And now let's go to folders, open this up. We'll say drag and drop. We'll ask it to replace it. So now here it'll take about 10 seconds to download. And now once we have downloaded it, we can go to our terminal. We'll say docker pull Postgres. I is verifying Docker over here as because we just freshly installed it. It will ask us to access from data, and then now it's verifying it again. So now here we have Docker, and what we are going to do over here is go to the terminal, paste this command in, and now it is working over here. So it is pulling PostgreSQL, and over here the issue was that we didn't even open Docker, so that's why. And now it's getting PostgreSQL, and then over here now we have successfully pulled it. So now what we are going to do is go back to our PPT and paste this command in. So you may worry that what is this command. So over here you can just write a simple prompt to ChatGPT. It can also do it for us. We can ask it to write steps to spin up PostgreSQL using Docker. So you ask us to pull Docker. Then over here we'll actually run the container using these. So over here we give its name as my Postgres, the network as my network, and then over here we'll ask you to write it in one line. Write it in one line, and we'll write it in one line for us. So now over here we are saying docker run. We're giving its name as my Postgres. We are giving its user as my Postgres. Then its password as ishang123. Then we are initializing a database which is full stack project DB. So now let's copy this and paste it in the terminal. I think we have pasted a little too much, so let's delete some. So now what we are going to do is go and run this command over here, which is docker run this. So now when we do that, now it has given us a code. So this code is really useful. And now when we go to Docker, if you see over here, we have this over here. So its name is this. Then we have our image, which is Portuguese. Its status is running. Its port is this. It last started 12 seconds ago. And now what we're gonna do is go to our pgadmin tool. So this pgadmin tool is a way. So now over here, what you might ask, what is pgadmin for? So over here, pgadmin 4 is a tool that let us visualize our databases. So we'll create a new server group, but before that we'll have to install pgadmin. To do that, you can just write pgadmin 4 over here, pgadmin 4 for macOS, and over here just download the later version. You should get this. We'll say create server group. The name is, it can be anything, we'll just name it full stack. And then over here we can go down, but there's simply nothing. So what we are gonna do is register server. Its name over here is in the over here. Its name is my Portuguese. It's asking for the host to be specified. The host is localhost. Then our username is Portuguese. The password over here is Isham123. So let's copy that, and now we'll save it. Oh wait. The user over here is also my Portuguese, so that's why it's giving an error. So we have to replace this with my Portuguese. Now when we save, over here we have our server. So in this server, it has automatically created a full stack project DB. And then now let's go to our tables. But if you see that we don't have any tables. So now let's open the query tool. And over here we're going to ask ChatGPT to give us a student table in Portuguese with columns for roll number as primary key, name, age, grade and section, only string and integer. So now let's copy this and go to ChatGPT and paste it. So now over here, all we are going to do is press enter, and now it's going to create it for us. So now over here, it generated a section and we'll ask it no need for section. And when we ask it for no need of section, it will give us no section. So we have roll number, which is an integer, and primary key. And over here, this primary key is that if you add another student, it will be roll number 1, roll number 2, roll number 3, and this will now be the same. We have name over here, which is very short, 25, and this is not null. Then we have age as integer and grade as integer. So here, this guy got 100, and over here we have specified that it should not be null. Otherwise, you should give out an error. So now let's copy this, go to pgadmin and paste it. So now here when we run this, it will say query created successfully. So we go to our database and say refresh. And now when we look at our tables, we have student, and our columns, we have roll number, name, age and grade. So now let's go back to our PPT to learn more. So now our fourth step is creating Python functionality using FastAPI. So here we'll say create a single Python file that performs the CRUD operations on, here there's a spelling mistake. So here we'll say create a single Python file that performs the CRUD operations on the database on the above table and import. And the imports over here we have also specified. So we can just copy this and Command C and Command V. So now over here, it will give us a Python file that uses these specific imports, and over here it performs the CRUD operations on everything. So over here it's gonna generate us. So we have the post method, we have a post method, the get method, the get student roll number method. But over here, if you look at Pydantic, over here we have class student base model, roll number equals integer, and now over here what we are going to do is just copy this. But before that, we have to create a new file. We're going to take this exact name, CRUDoperations.py, copy this, go to VS Code, paste it there, CRUDoperations.py. Now over here, it'll ask us to select an interpreter, and over here, be wary, you have to use this over here. So 3.10.15, so you have to use that. We click it. Now we are in this virtual environment. So now over here, we're gonna copy this CRUD operations.py and paste it there. And over here you see that we got some errors as because we don't have these external libraries when we created this over here. So what we are gonna do is ask ChatGPT, give me conda commands to install all these libraries. So now over here are the conda commands. So here we have install conda forge FastAPI. So let's copy this and we'll go to Visual Studio Code, and over here we paste this command, and over here it will install FastAPI. And this might be a little slow, but it will get the job done. So now we are installing, and now we are done. So now if we go to Google Chrome, it's asking us to install PyTorch, so we'll install that. So now over here, once the installation is done, then we'll install Pydantic, and we'll install UVCode and also typing extensions. So now over here, let's test this over here by using Postman. So if you want to install Postman, just go over here, type in Postman. Over here, it'll ask you to sign up, and once you're signed up, you should get this over here, and over here you can install it. And once you install it, you have this over here. So now over here, we're gonna create a collection. This name will be full stack test. We'll add a request. So this will be our post request, but first we have to use UVCode. Will say CRUD operations equals app : app, then we'll give a reload flag. Yeah, so now you're gonna run. So now let's go copy this as TTP and give it to Postman, plus what we're gonna add is our post request. So we want student over here, so we're gonna add that in over there, and we're gonna go to body raw JSON, and we're gonna say our roll number over here. So over here we're gonna say roll number, which is an integer. So over here we're gonna specify roll number as 1. We should have a comma over here. Then we're gonna say name. We're gonna say name over here. In the Pydantic, we're gonna see name, and over here name is gonna be Jane Doe. So over here we have age, which is an integer. Let's say her age is 13, and then over here we have grade, which is another integer, and she got 89. So now over here we're gonna send this, and voila, now it says okay because of this 200 flag. Now we're gonna create multiple, such as my name, which is Ishang Reddy. My age is 12, and I got a grade of 78. So now let's save this. Then we have our third roll number, which is my brother Bobby Reddy. His age is 9, and he got a 98 out of 100. Now let's save this, and now we have successfully added it in. So now let's add a new request. This is our get request. So this is students, and then we just send, and voila, over here we have our roll number of 1, roll number of 2, roll number of 3, and over here we got it. So now we'll create our next request, which is roll number by we get by roll number. So here voila, we get 1, where if you specify roll number as 1, we got roll number of 2 and roll number of 3. So ta-da! Now we have our update. So what we're going to do is add a request, and this is our put. So now here we're going to say students, go to body, raw, and over here remember remember that the roll number. So here we got to pass in the roll number. So now we're going to pass in the roll number to postman as roll number. And our roll number over here, I put it as 2. Then we have name. The name should not change. Wait, I think over here in the post method, let me check. Yeah, sorry, in the put method, we have to pass in the roll number. So we don't need roll number. So what we are going to do is go to postman. We're going to specify roll number as 2. Now over here, we don't need this roll number. So now, if we go to our get request, let's see what roll number 2 is. Oh, so roll number 2 is me. So I'll go to a put request, paste this in, and over here the teacher corrected it wrong and I should have gotten 80. Now let's save this. Oh, it is asking us to put roll number in there. So now over here what we are gonna do is put a comma, then this, our roll number is 2, and we'll just enter roll number in. So now we're gonna enter our roll number, which is over here. We're gonna copy this, and you know why I'm copying? Because even if there's a spelling mistake, it will give it wrong. And now, ta-da, it's updated. So now what we are gonna do is go to our get request. We'll actually now send it again, and now here I'm at the bottom, but our roll number is still there, and I got a grade of 80. So our put request works. Now let's look at our delete request. So we'll add a new request, which is gonna be our delete request. So here we'll say delete student 3. So here now if we save this, it will say student successfully deleted. And if you go to our get request, now here we only have Jane-Doe and Ishunk. So now we have successfully checked that all of our things work. So now let's go back to our PPT. So now here we also done our 5th step, which is creating a Postman test API. Now over here we are going to create the front end using HTML. So we'll say generate a UI with HTML, CSS, JavaScript in separate files based on how below get API get, post, put, delete, and we'll replace list after every operation like update, delete, or create. And I'll give you $20. This will motivate ChatGPT so that it will do better. So now over here, let's go to ChatGPT. We'll paste this in. So now over here, if you look over here, it's saying create a project folder, then create a CSS folder, create a JavaScript folder, and over here now it's creating it. And over here the JavaScript is the most important part as because it's the one that communicates with HTML, then also with Python. So now over here it is creating our function. So now over here we'll create our project structure. So now we'll copy project folder, go to Visual Studio Code, create a new folder called project folder. Now over here in this project folder we'll create index.html. And over here, let me check if I got the name right. You should also be careful and mindful about the names because sometimes ChatGPT will use these names for something. So now over here, we're going to copy this, paste it over here. Then let's look at the project structure again. So then we have our CSS folder. So we'll say a new folder actually, which is CSS. And over here, we're going to go to our CSS file and say styles.css. So now over here we're going to create a new file which is styles.css, and in this styles.css we're going to copy the CSS style, and over here there's only a few styling. I'll explain this. So we have a body which was specifying font family, margin, padding, and background color. Then we have a container box which has width of 80%, margin of 0 and auto. We have padding of 20 pixels, background and border radius, and box shadow. So these are all just for styling. These are also minor stylings over here. So now over here we're going to go to our main part, which is JS. So now over here let's look at our project structure. Let me check. Alright, over here we're going to create our new file which is JavaScript, and in that JavaScript we're going to create a script.js. And over here script.js is very important because as I told you, it's gonna communicate with HTML and also a backend over here. So now in this script.js, what we're gonna do is go to Google Chrome, and over here we have our JS file. So what we're gonna do is paste this in. So now over here, let's save and go to index.html and run. So now over here we have our website. So now over here we're gonna put our roll number as 3. It's really hard to click on these inputs, but it is clickable. Now over here we're gonna say Bhavik, then his age as 9 again, and grade as, I'll give him 100. So here we'll say save, and over here it's not coming. Let me try refreshing it. First let's close this by saying Command C, reload, and you use go live. So now over here what we're gonna do is enter our roll number as 3, name as K, age as 15, and grade as 55. So now let's save. Let's try refreshing now, but nothing has happened. So here let's check. So here the create method is not working, but the get method is working. We'll try deleting. It can delete. And let's try editing. So we'll say, instead of 12 we'll say 11. Alright, some methods are working and some are not. So I'll ask ChatGPT to add a function that refreshes every time you perform a CRUD operation. So we'll say add a function that refreshes every time you perform a CRUD operation. So now when we press this, so you'll say to ensure the list refreshes automatically after every CRUD operation, you integrate the fetch students function directly to the save student and delete student functions, as well as call it after an update. So here's the updated.js file. So we'll copy this code, and what we'll do over here is paste it in JavaScript. We'll port this, we'll dispose it, and delete student management. Alright, and over here we'll go to Visual Studio Code. We'll also delete this, then we'll save this, then over here we'll run without debugging. On this one, the index.html one. Alright, so here we have only Ishang ready. So we'll add a new thing which has roll number 1, name as Jane, age as 13, grade as 12. We'll save, and it's not refreshing. So we'll ask it to say once I use the put and post method, it is not showing the student. Alright, he's saying the issue is probably because of the roll number. So here we have API students. So now here it's gonna fix the code. Alright, now let's try copying this and paste it in script.js. And over here, let me see if it's properly linked or not. Alright, it's properly linked. So now what we're gonna do is save, and also we'll do Control C, and then we will go first on the server, then we'll go to index.html and run without debugging. Alright, now we will say roll number 1, Bhavik, age as 15, grade as 70. Alright, tada, now it's working. Now here we have edit function. We'll try editing our age as 14. Alright, it works. Now let's try deleting. It works. So now voila, there is your full stack project. You can do anything with it and it will still work. So now let's close this and close everything before even shutdowning. And now So folks, you got yourself a full stack website, and you didn't even write a single line of code for it. Isn't that awesome? If you don't know any of these topics, refer to our description. We'll give us all the links over there. So folks, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to support us, please like, share, subscribe to our channel, Web Designs. Keep on watching our videos and show some love. This is the end of a Python course. This is Ishang signing off.